Hello, everyone. Welcome to Strange Stuff Podcast. I'm Andy.
Yeah, and I'm Mark.
And we are here giving you, I don't know if this is going to be an extra Patreon episode or a normal episode, so we'll just have to wait.
Make your mind up. I've got to know how much effort to put into it, for God's sake.
I want lots of effort because we've got a good story today, or two good stories, but we've got lots of good build-up as well.
Hang on, I've just got to cancel some stuff here. What?
Cancel your dinner with Peter Mandelson because he won't be available to attend, apparently.
That is, the thing is that it just, however scandalous it is, it just becomes sort of normal, doesn't it? I mean, he was basically selling secrets
to Jeffrey Epstein.
Years after Epstein was convicted of, what do they call it? Trafficking, child prostitution or something.
Yes, which just goes to show how deep this fucking shit is. It's the same as Fergie, who took her two young daughters out to lunch with Epstein the week after being released from prison for paedophile offences.
Is that right?
Yes. I mean, luckily, those two were not very attractive children, so they were probably quite safe. But
I see what you mean.
Regardless, I mean, fucking what kind of parent are you? I mean, those kids were on Epstein's Island with their parents while Epstein Island was being Epstein Island. So daddy was playing in one of the playrooms, mummy was lying by the pool, and the two kids were wondering why they were the only ones left with their pants on.
But obviously all of these people, in their arrogance, just never even considered that they would be brought to book about it.
No. And in other news, the new documentary Melania has been released.
No, it's good.
Fuck off. It was released by Amazon. It was funded by Jeff Bezos. Right? And the story that I've read most is that basically this kind of documentary usually gets funded to the tune of about $10 million to make.
75.
This one cost $40 million.
Yeah.
No one's entirely sure where the other 30 million disappeared to, but I've got a clue. And anyway, it's been released and it's already won the FIFA Oscar for Best Documentary.
That's right, FIFA Oscar.
But it has had some bad reviews, and I'd like to read a couple out. I walked out after 10 minutes.
That was it, the sum total of the review. I walked out after 10 minutes.
I'll come back to that one. The second review is worst night I've ever spent in a theatre. Abraham Lincoln.
Did you know that the director of the movie appeared in the Epstein files?
Well, so has everybody else, apparently. I was looking for my name. I mean, They dumped 3 million documents, apparently.
Yeah, you mean the chances of your name not appearing are actually quite slim. Anyway, this fellow's being interviewed. I think it was on, one of the main news channels. And they said, well, what do you have to say about the fact that you're photographed with a young girl in your arms next to Epstein? I think it looks like they're on a very low-level sofa or bed. Epstein's got a young girl in his arms. And he said, this is just fake news. That girl was my fiancée. And the fella said, oh, congratulations, you're married. And he said, oh, well, no, we didn't actually get married. Well, how long were you engaged for? Not very long. What was this girl's name? Does she know that you were engaged to her? Oh, I'd prefer not to give her name. And basically started squirming. I mean, it was just,
Sorry, back to my reviews. I walked out of the cinema after 10 minutes. Stephen Hawking.
You idiot.
I forgot his name. It completely left me.
That poor fellow's gone now, hasn't he, Stephen Hawkins?
Yeah, he's rolled off this mortal coil.
Yeah.
His wife was torturing him, wasn't she?
Don't be ridiculous.
No,
Well,
she
was
was.
his nurse.
No, yeah, but she sat him in the garden and left him unattended for hours just because she hated him so much. It's a thing. She literally abused him.
What do you mean it's a thing? No,
It's
not
true.
a thing.
It's true.
Is there a punchline? Give me the signal.
No, it's internet true anyway. She was apparently really evil to him.
But
I mean, you can understand it, the frustration of living with someone who starts off fairly able-bodied but ends up being completely dependent on you. Probably does fuck some people up.
Again, you're just talking bollocks. Bollocks. She was his nurse.
His wife?
Yeah.
Yes, but that wasn't the career she chose.
What
that was the career that was for her.
She was a nurse, became his carer, and then his wife.
No. Not according to the Netflix fucking docu-series that I watched where they met in fucking school or something.
No, I don't think so.
They met at university.
You're getting your Hollywood movies mixed up.
No, I'm sure they met at university.
Yeah.
Alexa, where did Stephen Hawking meet his wife?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Alexa doesn't know either.
No, exactly. Who would? Who would know?
We'll have to ask Melania. Don't tell me you've actually watched. What could be interesting about a documentary from a smuggled child to an orange fat fucker?
What do you mean?
That's the end of the story.
No,
Melania, I was smuggled to Donald. The end. I mean, it's not like she had a successful career at anything.
We've touched on this before, the depth of hypocrisy, the fact that she was, in fact, an illegal immigrant on the basis that she wasn't Einstein, shouldn't have qualified for the thing, and then her parents came across as well, again, without justification.
And ICE have not removed them, and I want to know why.
Good. Join the queue, Andy. Join the queue. Now, what else? Oh, yes. And the one that I find most obnoxious of the Trump sycophants is that fellow, I think his name is Lutzik or something.
There's so many of them.
But the reason I find him so irritating is firstly because originally he was English, so there's no excuse. And he got caught out. He's been interviewed several times where he's categorically stated that he had no contact with Epstein after his conviction, never spoke to him, disgusting individual. And then in the latest release, when can the wife and the kids come to visit the island? Literally, he was taking his family to Epstein Island it was Disney World.
It's free entry if you bring your own kid, isn't it?
What do you mean? It's like a swingers party where you just get in for free if you bring a woman.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like an entry ticket, isn't it? It's a token.
Actually.
But hey, I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you the way it was on Epstein fucking Island. It's like Michael Jackson's Neverland. If you want to ride all the rides, bring your own kid.
Terrible. And it's what amazes me is the Clinton, who are being interviewed, by the way. They've accepted they need to be interviewed finally after, I don't know whether they actually failed to show up on a subpoena or they've been challenging the subpoena. Anyway, all of this talk from the right-wing nutters, the MAGA nutters, that Hillary was a child eater. Do you remember that? That she was a child eating ring.
I still believe it.
Maybe you do. But all it is they're literally describing their own mates.
Pizzagate was real.
What the hell was Pizzagate?
Don't you remember this thing about
Pizzagate? That was Andrew, you idiot.
No. It
When
was
he
when
said he
they
took
said
his
there was
girls to
a
Pizza
no.
Land.
They said there was a pizza parlor somewhere near the White House that had a basement, and in the basement these kids were being
Fed.
murdered. It was a thing, but the Pizzagate thing is real because some of the documents that have been released, some of the Epstein files, there's a lot of emails that basically say, looking forward to the pizza party, or do you want to come to a pizza party? And it's like all these pizza parties, and you think, fuck off, no one has a pizza party as a grown-up.
And you think this was child eating?
It's code for something. And it's not good, because if you're using code, it means it's fucking wrong, disgusting, or illegal.
Well, Elon Musk's emails to Epstein, there was no code.
Yeah, but
when he's having the wildest party, bring on the girls.
Yeah, but Elon Musk is a special case, isn't he? He's a fucking class A moron.
Unfortunately not. That's one thing he's not. He's a moron. So that's going on. Epstein files, 3 million. But the thing is, they're so inept. You know, they release these documents. One of them, they've got this 15-year-old girl in a sworn affidavit saying that Trump participated in some illegal sex act with another child. And then 3 hours later, it's withdrawn. But by then, people have already downloaded it. So they have copies of the document.
Yeah, and this is the problem with the internet. By the time everything gets released, digested and deleted, you just don't know anymore what's real and what's not. And it is another way of just smoke screening the whole thing.
What was this thing?
I've read documents about people on a yacht witnessing these women being raped and fucking babies murdered, and George Bush sucking the intestines out of a baby's belly. And it's in the documents, according to it's like part of the documents. But, you know, how real is it? It's a statement given by someone that's included in the fucking documents that have been released.
Yeah, but in this case, it was a statement by one of the known victims.
But it's the thing is, it's corroborated by the commenters as well, because someone's saying, what a load of bullshit, stop posting all this fake shit. And other people beneath it have said, no, it's there if you know where to look. And they show you where to look in the DOG website, or the DOJ website.
Until they get removed.
Yes, because then it comes up, this document does not exist. But, I mean, if half of the stuff that I've read is actually in those documents, why are these people not all being rounded up and cattle prodded into the fucking cells?
Well, this is what's most incredible. So I don't know how many documents were released last time. I think it was about 1 million. No, that was this time, 3 million. Last time it was 1 million or something. Those are the ones that are heavily redacted. So you got 4 million documents on file with the FBI. And how many people have been prosecuted?
None.
Well, actually 2. Epstein and Maxwell.
Maxwell, he's laying, yeah. But
4 million documents and 2 people have been prosecuted.
And only one person in prison, and it's a woman.
It's just, you know, what were they wasting their time on? When Kash Patel says there is no evidence of anybody else being involved, why were they wasting their time with 4 million documents?
Well, they're not wasting their time. They just don't want you to know what really happens in this world that would be so disgusting to everybody that we certainly would pick up arms.
It almost makes me want to be a conspiracy theorist, Andy, when this sort of shit hits.
We don't take just anyone. We don't take just anyone, mate.
What do you mean I wouldn't get in?
No, you
I'm
wouldn't.
too sensible.
No, you're far too sceptical. For no reason. You just say, no, I believe them because they're an expert. I'd rather believe an expert than someone who believes that we didn't go to the moon, which, by the way, has been put back another month.
What are you talking about? The only reason that occurs is because I actually went to school. I actually know what the scientific method involves.
Oh, you went to the propaganda induction machine that they call education.
Well, it was a Catholic school, so so did you, actually. You went to a Catholic school as well. You can't get much more indoctrinated than a Catholic school.
Did you hear that they've set the moon launch back another month?
Oh, have they?
Yeah, no surprise.
Because of weather? No. They discovered a leak.
Yeah, it's a bit nippy out.
No, they discovered a leak.
Yeah, do you know what? This bugs the shit out of me. You remember when was it the Challenger that exploded due to one of the rubber seals or gaskets or something that went brittle in the cold weather?
An O-ring.
And like 50 years later, they're using the same fucking rubber rings. Have we really learned nothing in 50 years? Have we not advanced even a little bit?
I don't think it's quite that simple, Andy.
Oh, I think it's very much that fucking simple.
You think they had some spare parts lying in the...
Why haven't they got battery-powered rockets now? We've got battery-powered everything else. Why not rechargeable rockets? Answer that one if you can, Mr.
What do you mean? We do have rechargeable rockets. Amazingly, actually, Elon Musk has produced those.
Elon Musk can't produce anything except bollocks.
One thing that, funny enough, Alex said quite some time ago, I said, why is it that Elon Musk is able to develop his systems so quickly as compared to NASA, who has so much more history and experience in space? And Alex said, look at the burnout rate of SpaceX staff. And I thought, well, that's a bit weird. What does he mean? He literally works them into the ground. And I saw a statistic the other day. I can't remember the numbers, but SpaceX, the average time that you last at SpaceX is like 8 months. And then you leave because it's just impossible to work there because they drive, they expect 20 hours a day. And if your kids are dying, you still stay at work, sort of thing.
Well, that's American work ethic anyway.
Well, it's not an ethic. You can't describe something
that's
like
why I did that.
Tragedy, scandal, work scandal.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, so I don't think we can get too much more out of the Epstein. I'm going to have to start reading them.
Well, it takes one person 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6.7 years to read those documents, apparently.
No, it would take more than that.
No, 8 hours a day. Well, it might take you a little bit longer because of your dyslexia.
No, I'm sorry. That's just a bollock statistic. It's more like 60 years.
No, it's 6.7
How many
years.
pages can you read in a minute? One a minute?
If you look, it was broken down, and I've seen it in several places on the internet. It was broken down. It was mathematically pretty correct. One person, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6.7 years to read 3 million documents. Say 4 paragraphs, 3 lines to each paragraph consisting of one document. Bear in mind, they're mostly emails, which is basically 4 or 5 lines.
No, Andy.
You don't need to read the sender's name and address or the recipient's name and address.
It's 125,000 documents a year.
Yeah.
3 million.
Divide that by 300.
It's 24 years.
No, you're wrong. It says it on the interwebs.
Look, the listeners can do their own bloody mental arithmetic.
What?
It's a long time.
You're putting a lot of stock in our listeners.
That always annoys me, these stupid maths problems that they pose on the on Facebook feeds and all that
the
sort of thing.
ambiguous ones where 2 answers can be correct.
Well, it's not ambiguous. It's just that whether you know that you have to multiply before you add and subtract, or you divide after multiplication. They're basic maths rules that people forgot because they learnt them in the 5th grade or whatever it is.
No, they don't even learn them anymore. This is the problem. They don't learn them anymore. There's no need to because I've got a phone in it.
Why do you always break into an Essex accent?
Well, they're the
What has
stupidest
Essex
people I've
got to
ever met.
do with people who don't know how to use a calculator or something?
I don't know how to use calculator. That's what your dad's for, isn't it?
That's what my dad's for.
Yeah, he uses a calculator.
Are you implying
with
that
the
Hannah
answer.
doesn't know how to use a calculator?
Who?
Hannah?
I'm sure she
Hannah
does.
is your daughter, so you're her dad.
Yeah, but she's not from Essex, and I'm not exactly a fucking idiot.
Not exactly a fucking idiot,
I'm as far
no.
from an idiot as you are from an intellectual.
Oh, dear. In spite of everything, I reckon, do you know what your IQ was?
What do you mean what it was? I'm still here.
No, but I'm still here, but my IQ has deteriorated dramatically since I was working.
I'm probably down to triple digits now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 100.
Fuck off. No, I'm no.
Did you ever actually measure your IQ when you were alive?
No, not when I was alive. I didn't see any point. Besides, I don't need any outside influences to tell me what I know. I know fucking everything. Well, I used to think I knew everything, but now I know I do.
Yes, exactly. What's the most important,
The
what's the
highest-
most irritating type of person? Those that claim they know everything to those of us who do. Yes.
The highest IQ recorded, or living highest IQ
221.
No, it's 200 and I think it was 243.
The lady in
And then you go down to number 10 and it's like 207. It's quite a steep drop.
No.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's 10 people alive with an IQ over 200.
I think there are.
Mensa is 140.
That's for genius level, is it?
No, I think 160 is genius, 140 is Mensa. Neither of which I got to, so I was never invited to join.
Why? I mean, who would want to be a member of that club where there's a good chance that everyone else in the room is actually smarter than you?
Yes. You wouldn't want to play cards with them, would you?
Anybody fancy a game of brag? Nope.
It's like that. Oh, anyway, whatever. Yeah. No, so you're right. There is plenty going on in the world. That's for sure. More down to earth. I went to I think you described them as a physio today.
What for?
My knee.
You got knee problems?
It's a problem on one knee. I was walking along with, what do you reckon a carp saw is in English? An angle saw? You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a tenon saw, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. No, that's something. Anyway, it weighs about 15, 20 kilos, bloody heavy. I was dismounting it from the bench, and I fell over, and this bloody saw landed on the side of my knee.
Ooh.
This is in the end of November.
This is bad practice, though. I mean, you shouldn't be solo in a workshop when you're moving shit about like that.
Yeah, but I wasn't using it. I was literally just moving it.
That's when it happens.
Well, clearly, that's what happened to me. Anyway, it's been 2.5 months, and the bloody thing is still frigging painful.
You've got fluid on the knee. That's what it is.
No, it isn't. I've had it checked out. I was there this morning. You don't have to tell me.
Did they drain it, the experts?
There's no draining involved. I didn't understand the word he described. It's basically when you bash a bone, it takes a long time to heal, and it begins with P. Posterous or something. Anyway, whatever. He said there's nothing they can do. You can take painkillers, it won't do anything. You just got to wait. Anyway, so that's what I spent my morning doing. But here's a question for you. You know how I'm anti all of these sort of Amazon and all of that.
Yeah.
I was looking for some brake pads for my grandchild's quad bike that's made in China. So I used Temu.
Temu.
And the first thing is, he said to me, "You did what? You ordered something with them. You know they're child labour, don't you?" And of course I didn't. And by that time, I'd already ordered it.
Everything is child labour.
Well, they have a very bad reputation. Anyway, the item that I bought was a £5, $6, 60 krona.
And you thought what? That was made by highly skilled technicians.
Well, the production of these, I mean, they were brake pads, for God's sake, so they're not going to be made by children. Anyway, these things were shipped all the way from China. No postage. It was free.
Yeah.
For a £5 item.
Mm-hmm.
All the way from China, because I could follow it. It left Szechuan, and then it went to Hong Kong, and then it went to somewhere else for a £5. Well, how does the world work? No wonder, it was just ridiculous.
China are happy to do this because they're undermining the Western economy all the time.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, they're very successful at it because these things aren't available anywhere else.
Yeah, because
I can't buy them Swedish made. They just don't exist.
You can't compete because if they were Swedish made, there would be 3,500 crowns.
Probably. But I say, in a way, good on China. We've had economic growth, fantastic unemployment records for the last God knows how many decades, and we've been buying from China. What's the problem?
Well, it's not a problem. The only problem is America's threatened by them.
Oh no, you're right. Of course,
they're a possibly bigger superpower than what we are.
No, quite literally. I mean, if the American people actually think that they're going to be steelworks popping up all over the place in America, they must be more stupid than I already think they are.
I'm sorry to our American listeners because you are our main source of listen.
What?
And, yes, we have more American listeners than any other demographic.
Why don't you tell me these things before I start ranting about them?
They hate you already, so it doesn't matter.
You mean
you should see my mailbox. It's like overflowing with Mark hate.
Yeah. Well, it's good you don't show it to me.
Yeah, I'll read you one out. Great show, Andy. Get rid of that piece of shit.
And I always, absolutely, I feel bad for those that are being conned, not for the people doing the conning.
No, I mean...
So the general public in the States is unfortunate. If they watch Fox News, what the hell are they going to expect?
I've had some great times in America. I've had some great holidays in America. There are certain places I would love to live in America under different circumstances.
Where would you move to? Would you move to California?
Oh, no, I would be a Florida man, for sure.
What, with all the pensioners?
Yeah, absolutely.
What, trying to steal their money?
Pickings. Well, it'd be like con man's heaven.
And this is how you see yourself, some sort of William Tell, or what's that fellow from Forest of Green?
I would have my name in so many...
Robin Hood.
I would have my name mentioned in so many wills in Florida. But even the governor would phone me up and say, "Tell us his tricks, man. Tell us your secret."
I think the problem, Andy, is that the competition's pretty maxed out in Florida in terms of will participants.
Yeah, but I've got the English accent, don't you know?
Good point. Good point. It's just you don't have a face to match. You've got a Telly Savalas face with a Prince Andrew voice, which is not a great combo.
I don't sound like Prince Andrew. What are you talking about? Maybe my AI copied sounds a little bit Prince Andrew.
He was a bit squeaky, I have to say. And you kept, I say you kept sort of doing with your fingers because you can't quite sure what to do with them.
No, but the thing is, it learns, and you have to do more of it so that it gets more natural. You can teach it how you use your arms when you talk.
But when you do this thing, they don't actually take a video of your body, God help it.
Yeah, they do the upper half of my body.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I can
right.
map the whole thing.
And do you get to design your own costume?
To an extent, I tell it what I want to be wearing and it gives me options.
Really?
Yeah.
One amazing thing, and it probably proves how sad I am, I do not go to porn sites, but on Facebook today, I got something about make your AI girlfriend.
Oh, that's been going for years.
Oh, all right. Well, I've only just got mine.
My last,
Is it any good?
My last relationship.
Your last yeah, exactly. I was going to say, how many AI girlfriends have you had? I can't remember if it was Facebook or Instagram. I can't remember. Anyway, it looked pretty good. She looked very pretty.
Do you know, the sad thing about us going to be dead soon is that we're going to miss out on, like, when they actually come out with the realistic human touch AI girlfriend that actually gets delivered to your door and walks out of the box to say hello to you.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit off that. And you'd have to be good at speaking Chinese as well, because that's definitely...
As long as they can understand, make me a sandwich.
The international language of love. It needs no words. Oh. It's not far off, is it? Westworld is not far off, actually. And if anybody doesn't know what Westworld is, it was a 1970s movie.
Yes, with Yul Brynner. But they remade it as well.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Into a TV series. It was
right.
A TV series. I don't know if it was Netflix or Prime or maybe even HBO or something.
Oh, there was one. Oh, yes, there was one more recently. Melania, Mechamina, with the Swedish girl, the Swedish actress who was playing the lead role. That's a great movie. Oh, what's her name? Vic. She was Tomb Raider.
Lara Croft.
No, that's the character's name.
Yeah, but so many girls have played Lara Croft.
No, two actually. Angelina Jolie and this Swedish girl.
Mm.
I'll check it out. Now, what did I just say that she was in, that I know she was in? Tomb Raider.
Something Mechanica.
Exactly. Hang on, I'll go. Anyway, carry on.
Well, listen, because we're half an hour in, so
Alicia Vikander. So if I go into that,
I don't know that name at all.
You sure? What?
You're
joking. You don't know who that girl is?
I'm sure I would recognise her, but you'd have to hold it in front of the camera. No, not even from that.
Really? All right. Anyway, carry on. So, sorry, have you got a subject, or are you just hoping we rant on?
You've always been a bit more of a fangirl with the actresses than me. I don't care what their name is. I care what they look like, half naked.
Yeah, but I'm not bothered. I want.
My taste is more basic.
Basic is the right word.
Anyway, I have got a subject.
Is it a good one, or is it an excuse one?
It's a fantastic subject, and it's about time.
I know something about time.
Do you? Ex Machina.
That's it. It's a good movie. You want to watch it. 7.7 on the Internet Movie Database.
I've probably seen it, and I don't care about the rating.
Well, you should do. Saves a lot of time. Saves a lot of wasted time.
I prefer to make up my own mind rather than listen to the experts who've rated it on IMDb.
I don't want to be rude, Andy, but that's obviously where you've been going wrong your whole life, listening to what you think as opposed to other people.
Oh, okay. Well, now let me do the build-up to my lovely story, my first story.
Go for it.
There are some stories that sit at the crossroads of science, faith, and conspiracy.
Science, faith,
Stories
conspiracy.
So strange that even deciding whether or not they're true feels like a test of belief. And this is one of those stories.
Now, I have to say, Andy, if it appears on this show, what are the chances of it being true?
This is absolutely true, by the way. Both my stories are absolutely 100% true, checkable.
I've turned the volume up.
So this story doesn't begin with a mad scientist or a shadowy government lab, but with a Catholic priest. A man trained in theology, philosophy, and music. A man who claimed calmly and without any spectacle that humanity had already invented time travel. Not metaphorically or spiritually, but literally. And according to Father Pellegrino Ernetti...
That is not... No, I'm sorry.
He is
Pellegrino is a type of Italian mineral water. I drink it. I've got some in the fridge. Limoncello.
Well, according to Father Mineral Water Ernetti, sometime in the mid-20th century, a machine was built.
Father Pellegrino. I'm sorry, I just can't get that out of my
head.
Name.
It's an Italiano name.
It's actually a place.
His name was Antonio
or
Mario.
Giulio.
Now you're being racist.
What do you mean? I have family members called Giulio.
Here to our fucking surrender monkey friends.
Bloody hell, Andy.
According to Father Pellegrino Ernetti, sometime in the mid-20th century, a machine was built that could see into the past. And this machine he called the Chronovisor, or the Chronovisor. And if Ernetti was telling the truth, and I do think he was, then someone, somewhere, once watched the crucifixion of Christ live. Now, Father Pellegrino Maria Ernetti, go on, I'm waiting.
No, it's not unusual in Italian to have a female name thrown in. The Virgin Mary.
Well, she was a female.
That's what I mean. That's what
necessarily her first name.
I realised that.
Virgin Mary, what are you doing?
What was her surname?
Nobody knows, but we know the name of the hooker that Jesus hung out with, Magdalena.
Mary Magdalena. But why don't we know the Virgin Mary's and Joseph's surname?
Wasn't he Joseph of Arimathea or something?
Well, that's a very interesting point. Having been to Catholic school for as many years, we don't even know their surname.
I think they're being deliberately vague so that you can't fact check the Bible.
I can.
No, you can't. Don't walk away from me when I'm in the middle of my story. Well, I'm not surprised.
Carry on. So, anyway, so this, what was it? Circumvisor. Chronovisor or Chronovisor. Right. Yeah.
Father Pellegrino Maria Ernetti was born in 1925 in Italy, as we've surmised, and he eventually became a Benedictine monk at the Abbey of San Giorgio Maggiore in Venice. By all accounts, he was quite brilliant. He was fluent in multiple languages, deeply knowledgeable about ancient texts, a respected musicologist who specialized in Gregorian chant. So we could have used
Gregorian chant.
We could have used him to make a couple of musical fillers for us. He wasn't a fringe figure. He collaborated with academics. He worked with Vatican scholars, and he appeared even on Italian television discussing philosophy and theology, which is important because when Ernetti finally told his story, he did it without irony or hesitation and without ever recanting. The Chronovisor, he said, was real. According to Ernetti, the idea for the Chronovisor emerged in the 1950s during a conversation with fellow priests and scientists. The basic premise was radical but strangely elegant. Every event that had ever occurred leaves behind an energy trace. Words, screams, prayers, footsteps, all of them generate vibrations. And those vibrations, Ernetti claimed, don't disappear, they disperse, they weaken, but they remain embedded in the fabric of reality. So if you could locate and isolate those residual waves or electromagnetic echoes of the past, you could, in theory, reconstruct the images and the sounds of previous moments in time.
Interesting theory. It would certainly explain a lot of ghosty activity.
Yeah, you couldn't travel back, you couldn't change anything, you could only observe. A bit like tuning a radio to a broadcast that aired thousands of years ago. Now, Ernetti claimed that he did not work alone. In fact, this is where the story becomes even more unsettling. He said that the Chronovisor was developed by a secret team of elite scientists, including none other than Enrico Fermi, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist behind the first nuclear reactor, and also Werner von Braun, the architect of NASA's rocket program. Men who shaped the modern world. Men whose involvement would suggest that the Chronovisor wasn't a fantasy scribbled in a monk's notebook, but a project taken seriously by the highest scientific minds of the time. The device itself, Ernetti said, looked nothing like a time machine, from science fiction at least. No spinning rings, no flashing lights. It consisted of a series of antennae, cathode ray tubes, and specialized metals, materials designed to capture, filter, and decode residual electromagnetic radiation from the past. The user would input a specific time and location, and the machine would lock on to the corresponding energy patterns, and then it would display the past. At first, Ernetti claimed, they tested it on recent history. They watched speeches by Mussolini. They observed moments from World War II, and they verified events that could still be corroborated by living witnesses. And according to him, it worked. But eventually, curiosity overtook caution. They began to look further back, much further. Ernetti's most controversial claim, and the one that ensured his story would never be forgotten, was that he personally witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. He described the scene in solemn detail, the sky, the crowd, the sound of voices speaking Aramaic and Latin, the suffering of a man dying on a wooden cross. In 1972, an Italian magazine published what it claimed was a photograph of Christ on the cross, allegedly captured from the Chronovisor. And this image caused an immediate uproar. The Vatican denied involvement. Skeptics quickly pointed out that the face bore an uncanny resemblance to a 19th century statue by Spanish sculptor Lorenzo Coulot Valera. The photograph was dismissed as a hoax, but Ernetti never backed down. In fact, he went further. He claimed that the Chronovisor had been used to observe ancient Rome, Greece, and even prehistoric civilizations. He said it allowed them to watch Cicero deliver speeches, to hear Latin spoken exactly as it was pronounced, to witness rituals long ago lost to history. Most astonishingly, Ernetti claimed that the machine helped him reconstruct a lost play by the Roman poet Quintus Ennius, a tragedy called Thyestes, a work believed to have been lost or vanished over 2,000 years ago, and Ernetti published the text. Classicists were baffled. Some said the language was too modern, others said it contained archaic elements that would have been nearly impossible to fake convincingly. And the debate continues to this day. But if the chronovisor was real and it truly worked, then why had the world never heard of it again? But
now, that's exactly what I was... Two questions. How would you calibrate such a machine, and why doesn't it still exist?
Well, Ernetti has the answers for you.
Oh, dear.
He said that the device was dismantled, destroyed, and the parts hidden, not because it failed, but because it succeeded far too well.
But who made it?
I told you the names of the scientists involved.
So why can't it be reconstructed? You can remanufacture parts, can't you?
No. Probably everyone had their own job. It's like building a rocket ship. If you're working on the cockpit, you've got nothing to do with the engines. Someone is responsible for one part.
And how do you dial in which date you want to go to?
Look, don't get bogged down in nonsense details while I'm trying to give you
nonsense scientific detail.
According to Ernetti, the chronovisor, as it was, posed an existential threat to humanity because it could be used for blackmail, espionage, and manipulation. Every crime could be revisited, every secret exposed. Every private moment would turn into evidence. History itself could be surveilled. Governments, he claimed, quickly realized that such a device could destabilize civilization. Religious authorities feared that it would undermine their faiths. Political leaders feared it would just erase plausible deniability. So a decision was made. The chronovisor would never be rebuilt. His components were divided and hidden across different countries. His plans sealed away, possibly within the Vatican archives. And we've done a podcast about the Vatican archives.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have. The biggest secret library in the world. We have. And
I know. I was joking.
You should listen to our podcast.
Yes.
Ernetti insisted he was forbidden from revealing technical details under threat of severe consequences. And coming from a pope, you know that's going to be pretty fucking severe.
Yeah.
And yet, he spoke anyway. Skeptics argue that Ermetti's story collapses under scrutiny. There's no physical evidence of the chronovisor that has... I keep thinking coronavirus every time I see the word. It's why I keep stumbling over it.
But hang on a second, there was. He produced a photograph of Christ's crucifixion.
No physical evidence of the chronovisor has ever surfaced. No documents, no blueprints, no corroborating testimony from either Fermi or von Braun, both of whom died without ever mentioning the project. Physicists point out that while information can persist in the universe, isolating and reconstructing it with that level of precision would probably require technology far beyond what existed in the 1950s and very likely beyond what exists today. Others suggest Ernetti may have believed his own theory without ever building a functioning device, or that the entire story was an elaborate philosophical metaphor, a meditation on memory, time, and divine omniscience. But there are problems with those explanations as well. Ernetti gained nothing from his claims. He didn't sell any patents, he didn't found a cult, and he didn't seek fame. After the controversy, he withdrew from public discussion and returned to monastic life. He refused any interviews and he refused to elaborate. Until his death in 1994, he maintained that the chronovisor had existed and that it was far too dangerous for humanity. He never recanted, he didn't make any confessions, and he never winked at anybody to suggest it was a joke. It was just stoic silence. Which leaves us with quite an uncomfortable question. What if he was telling the truth? What if the past isn't gone, just out of reach. Modern physics already entertains strange ideas about information conservation, holographic universes, space-time as a malleable structure rather than a fixed stage. Some theorists suggest that the universe itself may record everything that happens within it. And if that's the case, then the chronovisor wouldn't be a violation of physics, just an extreme application of it. And if someone once figured out how to access that record, who's to say that it hasn't already been rediscovered? The chronovisor sits in a strange category of mystery. It's too detailed to dismiss outright, it's too unsupported to accept, and it's too dangerous to ever confirm. It challenges not just science, but morality, because if we could watch the past, really watch it, would we ever be able to look away? Would we respect privacy across time? Would we allow history to remain imperfect and unresolved? Or would we replay it endlessly, searching for certainty where certainty doesn't exist? Father Ernetti believed humanity wasn't ready, and maybe that's why the chronovisor vanished. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it's still out there, silent, hidden, waiting for someone who believes the past should no longer be a mystery. And if that day does come, the question won't be whether the chronovisor is real. The question will be whether we should have ever looked in the first place.
It's quite an interesting...
And now,
what are you doing?
a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, in your dreams. It is quite an interesting concept. You can sort of... It's not too stupid an idea.
It's a great idea.
No, but I mean, you can... When you think about it, when you think of radio waves and such like that are flying through the sky the whole time...
Yes, they're still there.
Why couldn't they reverberate around?
They can. I mean, it's obviously a working theory. It can be done. We just probably don't know how to do it. But maybe we do know how to do it. Maybe it's being used against us this very minute.
But the thing is that it can't predict the future, obviously. It
No.
can only look into the past.
Yes, if it hasn't happened, then it can have nothing to do with it. But nobody is safe. If somebody has a device that can basically map your whole life and everything you've ever done, then the world as we know it is finished.
Why do you say that? Why?
There's no secrets.
Well, why does that stop the world spinning?
Well, it means that the person who controls the chronovisor controls the world.
No.
Yeah, it does, because if you're in a position of power, I'm going to blackmail the fuck out of you because I can guarantee you with my chronovisor, I've got shit on you.
Yeah, but that's just
You
a
will
sad
do what I
reflection
want
of
you
your...
to do.
No, but Andy,
Well,
that
that's how
only
governments
counts if
work.
you've done bad things. What if you've led a life of
There is
philanthropy?
there is no one without sin. I will cast every stone. There is no one without sin. Especially if you're in a position of power. You didn't get that by being Mr. Nice Guy. Are you telling me that Donald Trump was just a nice guy who happened to deserve being president? Putin is a nice guy who deserves to be president?
Donald Trump is a perfect example of a despicable individual who came to power. But that doesn't mean all people who came to power are despicable.
Mother Teresa?
Yeah, well, actually, even she's a little bit questionable.
A little bit. She was fucking the devil.
I think that's a bit strong.
Bit. She was the devil in a dress, and it wasn't Prada.
I'm just trying to think of an example of... All right, here's... sorry for the American viewers, and this may be a bit of a far reach. Barack Obama.
Well, I'm not even going to go down that road. That's a rabbit hole and a half.
But I don't think any dirt has ever surfaced about Barack Obama.
Or his husband.
I don't know if that got into the Melania documentary, if you can call it that, when she was being interviewed asking about Barack Obama's birth certificate in an English that you could barely understand. What do you mean? I've seen it.
Seen this?
What?
Have you actually seen this documentary?
No, I'm saying it was something that just came up on Facebook the other day. Melania saying, "Yes, but Barack Obama, he was not born in America."
When I was first married, age 9, to Mr. Trumpet.
Yeah, so there's an example. He got to power without being mad, a megalomaniac.
I mean, there's a man who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize within days of becoming president, when allegedly you have to be nominated the year before to actually get the Peace Prize.
Yeah, but the nominees
How
were
does
thin.
that fucking work?
Yeah, the nominees were a bit thin on the ground that year.
No, but you can't have it the same year. You're nominated 12 months in advance.
Now, what do you know about the process of selecting nominees for the Nobel Prize?
It was the news that Donald Trump couldn't win it because this time last year he wasn't even president. And you have to be nominated a year in advance. Look, don't fucking shoot the messenger.
Yes, you need to sometimes. If the carrier pigeon is carrying rabies, you shoot it regardless.
Don't blame the player. Blame the game.
Anyway, I think it's an interesting concept. It's sort of in the realms of that there are trace elements of everything that's happened in the past floating around. The only thing is, the absurd thing is that, of course, how much do you think of 2,000 years ago is still floating around? If it was last Wednesday, the signals are pretty fresh. But Christ's crucifixion 2,026 years ago is a little bit extreme, I would say.
I'm fairly certain that with the right equipment, with the right radio telescope, you can still pick up BBC broadcasts from the 20s.
I wonder if you can.
Absolutely.
Because they obviously, did they go out into space?
Yeah, they sent them out into space.
No, but do they get into space?
We don't know because we've never been into space. So how would we know?
It would be good, actually, if suddenly...
Clearly, they've set the Orion mission back a month because, as I forewarned, the bloke at Mission Control was on his period and he wasn't having no fucking launch today.
So you managed to be inaccurate and misogynistic in the same paragraph.
Well, that's not misogynistic. I said he was a bloke. And he was a bloke.
you mentioned... Yeah, exactly.
The bloke who runs Mission Control, because I told you there was the astronaut, the gay astronaut, the black astronaut, the lady astronaut, and there was the midget, cripple, mental who was driving the SNS or whatever it's called.
SMS, what's that?
The Space Launch System, the SLS. And there was the trans bloke running Mission Control. We all had to hope that he wouldn't be on his period that day. And he was. That's why it's been set back a month. So
they wouldn't have set it back a month, would they?
Well, they would.
They would have set it back 3 weeks. Because otherwise he'd be on his period in a month's time
that's
again.
Trans math for you.
That's trans maths.
In a month when I'm off my period, when I'm not on my rag anymore, when the painters have gone home, when Little Red Riding Hood's not in the forest.
It's amazing how you can sound so innocently amusing and yet be so offensive at the same time. It's a knack you have, Andy.
It's a skill that's been honed over 60 years.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, how
anyway,
did it...
on with the show, because we're basically at the end of our hour, but I'm not giving up.
Well, what do you mean? You've told us the story.
I told you there were 2 stories.
Of San Pellegrino.
I've told you there were 2 stories. We had the Italian mineral water, and now we have the mysterious disappearance of Mike Markham. This is very famous. There are some stories that feel like urban legends the moment you hear them. Stories that sound too strange and a bit too cinematic. Too perfectly tailored to the internet age to be actually true. And when you start pulling on the threads, you realize that something is there. something documented, something witnessed, and something unresolved. And this is one of those stories. It's the story of a man named Mike Markham. He was a self-taught inventor from rural Missouri, a man fascinated with electricity, physics, and time. And, according to persistent accounts, a man who vanished, possibly during an experiment involving a homemade time machine.
Which involved explosives.
Now, the last part of that story alone is enough to set off alarm bells, because time machines don't exist. At least, not in any verified, peer-reviewed, Nobel Prize-winning sense of the word. And yet, Mark Markham is a real person. His name appears in local news archives and his court records exist. People who knew him have spoken publicly, and the fact of his disappearance, however it happened, has never been fully explained. So, we're not here to prove that time travel is real, and we're not here to endorse the wider corners of the internet, but what we are here to do is something more grounded and in some ways a little bit more unsettling. And we're here to reconstruct what we actually know. Who Mike Markham was, what he was building, what went wrong, and why, decades later, his story still refuses to settle into a clean, comfortable explanation. Because sometimes the mystery isn't that something impossible happened. Sometimes the mystery is how an ordinary person can disappear into the cracks between rumour, record keeping, and even time itself.
How poetic.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Mike Markham was born in 1968. So he's younger than us and smarter.
Yep,
How does that
clearly.
make you feel?
He's done more with his life than we have.
When you look at the kids today who are born, they're younger than us, and we look at them and we think, you stupid, ignorant little cunt. But now here's one who's actually smarter than us.
Well, he's not that much. I'm 58, for God's sake.
He grew up mostly in rural Missouri, primarily around the town of St. Joseph. By most accounts, he was intelligent, curious, and intensely hands-on. Not academically trained in physics or engineering, but deeply motivated to learn on his own terms. Much like yourself in mechanics, I guess.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, so you two would have probably been mates.
Yeah, we could have been, me and Mike.
Except that you're an introverted fucking nerd, and he was probably quite a fun guy to hang around
Certainly
with.
not a nerd. Don't have a brain for it.
People who knew him described him as someone who loved to tinker. He took things apart, he built devices, and he was especially interested in electricity, high voltage systems, transformers, and the way energy could be stored, redirected, and amplified. This wasn't unusual in itself. Rural America has always produced a certain kind of backyard inventor. People who might not have had access to formal labs or advanced education, but who compensate with ingenuity, persistence, and a willingness to experiment, which is how we had all the stills running during Prohibition.
I think stills had been around quite a long time before Prohibition.
It became major home industry once the Prohibition kicked in.
Could you make a still?
Yes, quite easily. You just need the basic parts of a washing machine.
What's a washing machine got?
Thermostat, heating element, a copper what's name.
I could probably work it out, actually. I think I could make a still.
It's not that complicated. What was unusual was how far Mike was willing to go to push his experimentation. By the early 90s, Mike had developed an obsession with time, not time management or philosophy, but time as a physical dimension, something that could potentially be manipulated using electromagnetic fields and rotational energy. According to later interviews and second-hand accounts, Mike believed that time travel might be possible not through science fiction tropes like wormholes or faster than light travel, but through electrical resonance, specifically by generating powerful rotating electromagnetic fields that could destabilize the normal flow of time. Again, quite an interesting theoretical take on things.
Oh, it's a bit, I mean, obviously time is relative. You do know that.
Ah, relative to what though?
The distance from the Earth.
That's a theory. That's the theory of relativity.
Yeah, but it was Einstein who came up with it.
It
So I
doesn't
sort
matter.
of... No, it's been proven anyway.
No, it hasn't, obviously, because
Einstein's theory of relativity has not been proven.
Mike, I give you Mike. Mike is here to shove your theory up your rectum.
No, but I think he's latched onto it. I think he's made artificial circumstances that mimic that of travelling away from Earth.
Exactly. By rotating the electromagnetic fields.
Yeah.
It stabilizes the normal flow of time.
I'm on top of this. I'm on top of it. I agree.
Are you with me? He's
heading in the right direction.
One eternity later.
This idea wasn't entirely invented out of thin air.
No.
Concepts involving rotating magnetic fields do exist in legitimate physics. It's used in motors, generators, and experimental propulsion research. But the leap from that to personal time travel is quite enormous.
That is a big one.
Still, Mike was convinced enough to try. And this is where his story begins to diverge from harmless tinkering into something genuinely quite dangerous. Mike lived in a modest home and he worked various jobs to support himself, but much of his money, time and energy went into acquiring electrical equipment, often not through conventional means.
Mm-hmm.
Court records and local reporting confirm
this
that
is
Mike
not
was
good.
arrested
Court
multiple
record.
times in the early 90s for stealing electrical components, particularly high voltage equipment and industrial transformers.
What, from power stations? Do you think he was going into the local power station?
Well, these weren't petty thefts. Transformers of the type that he was after are heavy, specialized, and potentially lethal if mishandled. From a law enforcement perspective, this framed Mike as a criminal, a repeat offender stealing dangerous equipment for unclear purposes. From Mike's perspective, according to those who spoke with him, this was a means to an end. He couldn't afford the components that he believed he needed, but he felt that his work was important enough to justify the risk. And this pattern culminated in 1995 when Mike was arrested and sentenced to prison for stealing transformers, and he was sent to the Western Missouri Correctional Center. At this point, if the story ended here, Mike Markham would just be a footnote, a cautionary tale about obsession, bad judgment, and the consequences of crime. But it doesn't end here, because after his release from prison, accounts vary on the exact date. I found 6 or 7 different fucking examples. Mike returned to his experiments. And according to multiple independent retellings, this is when something went very wrong. The core event that fuels the mystery surrounding Mike Markham is an experiment reportedly conducted in the mid to late 90s after his release. And the story goes like this. Mike constructed a large device in his garage. At its center was a chair or a platform surrounded by a ring of high voltage electrical components, coils, transformers, and rotating magnetic elements. The setup was designed to generate an intense electromagnetic field around a seated subject. That subject was to be Mike himself.
Sounds like a bit of an MRI machine.
Possibly. According to the most commonly repeated version, except MRIs were powered by nuclear fucking fission.
Don't be ridiculous.
Of course,
MRI in
MRIs
their
are
hospitals.
nuclear powered, mate.
magnetic resonance imagery.
Where do you think your radiation comes from?
They plug it into the bloody wall, you idiot.
Well, you've got radiation in your plug holes.
There's no radiation in MRI. Magnetic resonance, you idiot.
You believe in that hype again? Oh.
Radiation.
According to the most commonly repeated version, Mike activated the device while seated inside it, and witnesses, often described as friends or associates, were present in the garage. When the machine powered on, the air reportedly began to shimmer. Electrical effects intensified, and then, in a moment that has become legendary in online retellings, Mike disappeared. He didn't die, he didn't get electrocuted, he just disappeared.
Well, if he disappeared, how do you know he didn't die? He might have been spread across the universe in molecular level.
No body, no remains, no immediate explanation. And it's important to slow down here before you start going off. This account doesn't come from police reports, and it doesn't come from peer-reviewed documentation. It comes from a web of personal anecdotes, early internet forum posts, and interviews conducted years after the fact, which means that we have to treat it with caution. But here's the thing. Despite the lack of formal documentation, the story has remained remarkably consistent across decades and across platforms. Details shift, language changes, but the core elements stay the same. A homemade machine, an experiment, witnesses, and a disappearance that can't be explained. And that consistency is what keeps this story alive. One of the most credible aspects of his story is not the disappearance itself, but the aftermath. Because if Mike had simply died in an accident, there would be records. If he had been seriously injured, hospitalized, or killed, there would be paperwork, death certificates, or emergency calls. But no such documentation has ever surfaced. At the same time, Mike didn't simply continue his life openly. There's no confirmed sightings, no verified interviews, no re-emergencies under his own name, which leaves us with a few possibilities, all of them uncomfortable in their own different ways.
So, sorry, this guy was in his 30s, wasn't he?
Yes,
30s, early
90s,
40s.
Yeah.
All right.
One possibility is that the story is exaggerated, that he survived an accident and chose to disappear, and the more sensational elements are added later. Another is that he died in an unreported or poorly documented incident, and the narrative filled the gaps with speculation. And yes, there is the possibility, however remote, that something genuinely anomalous occurred. But before we explore those explanations, we need to understand something critical. Mike Markham wasn't operating in a vacuum. He was part of a long tradition of fringe inventors, outsider scientists, and self-taught experimenters who believed that mainstream science had missed something fundamental. And in the 90s, the internet was just beginning to connect those people together.
And? Oh no, you got to type something, do you?
I'm just moving on to the next part of my narrative.
Can you do it more quickly?
Okay, before we go any further into the theories or conclusions, we need to slow the story down and do something essential, which is separate what might have happened from what could have happened. Because the Mike Markham story lives at the intersection of three things that don't always sit well together: real people, incomplete records, and extraordinary claims.
Hang on. What's the difference between might have happened and could have happened? That's the same thing, you idiot.
Possibly and not possibly.
Well, then it wouldn't be might have happened if it's impossible. It couldn't have happened if it's
exactly what I said you shouldn't do.
What's that?
Just asked you not to go into this bullshit until I finish my bullshit. So let's talk about the machine. Descriptions of Mike's device vary, but the components appear consistently across all accounts. At the centre was a chair or a seat, something a human could sit in. Around that were arranged coils, transformers and wiring designed to generate high voltage electrical currents. Many versions of the story also describe rotating elements, either physical rotation or rotating electromagnetic fields. The idea, according to people who later discussed Mike's work, was to create a localized distortion in time using electromagnetism. The concept didn't come from nowhere. In legitimate physics, time and space are linked. Strong gravitational fields can slow time relative to an observer. That's documented and measurable. Electromagnetic fields, meanwhile, are fundamental forces that can influence charged particles and energy transfer. But here's the critical distinction. There is no experimental evidence that electromagnetic fields, no matter how strong, can cause microscopic time displacement. Not for objects, not for people, neither forwards nor backwards. And even the most extreme laboratory experiments involving particle accelerators, which we spoke about in our last episode.
CERN.
Well, we were talking about the Russian one.
Yeah, that's right. He stuck his head in to check out whether it was working.
Is it on yet? Yeah, particle accelerators and magnetic fields operate on scales that dwarf anything that a lone individual could reconstruct in a garage. But that doesn't mean that Mike didn't believe otherwise. According to these accounts, Mike was deeply convinced that mainstream science was overlooking key interactions between electricity, rotation, and time. He reportedly studied patents, fringe physics texts, and speculative research papers. And he wasn't alone in this. There's always been a subculture of inventors who believe that breakthroughs are being ignored or suppressed.
Why?
But belief is not the same as feasibility. Well, you say why, but we all know that breakthroughs are repressed. We know that there is a better way of generating free energy. We know that there's a better car engine out there that doesn't run on petrol. We know that these things exist. We can be sure that cures for cancer exist, but we will never see them because there's no money in a cure. There's only money in treatment.
No, I completely agree with the sort of the basic premise of that. But what time travel? Why is that not something that people make money out of? Lots of money. See into the future. Look at the past.
One person could make it pay. If more than one person has it, it's war.
What?
You can't allow that technology to go out.
Why?
We'd all be jumping backwards and forwards, changing history willy-nilly.
You can't change history.
How do you know?
Well, because history is history,
but if
by definition.
Well, it's history on this timeline. But if I go back, shag me grandmother, all hell breaks loose.
No.
My grandfather would kick my ass.
Yeah, you're right. Your granddad might have something to say about it. And why you'd want to. I never met her, but...
I never met her. So it's possible that it could happen accidentally.
You never met your grandmum?
No.
On which side?
On my mum's side. I never met either of her parents. And I only
Sorry, your grandparents on your mum's side died before you were born?
Either that or they had no contact.
Or soon after you were born.
And I only ever met my mother, my grandmother on my father's side, once.
I suppose that's not... Yeah, in fact, funny enough, I say that. I met my grandfather on my mother's side once, and my grandmother loads of times, and on the other side, I never met him. He died before I was born. Anyway, sorry to distract you from your story.
Yeah, so we're back to being suppressed. But belief isn't the same as feasibility. And this is where the story takes on a more grounded and probably a more troubling tone. High voltage electrical systems are fucking dangerous, extremely dangerous. Transformers can store and release lethal amounts of energy. Improper grounding, insulation failure, or unexpected arcing can kill instantly. And electrical accidents don't always leave dramatic signs. Sometimes they leave confusion, fire damage, or nothing at all.
No, but hang on. They leave a frazzled body. They don't disappear things.
So when
I hear you say,
describe Mike's garage experiment as producing shimmering air or intense effects, there are plausible explanations. Ionized air can glow. Electrical discharge can create visual distortions. Ozone can alter smell and perception. Extreme electrical activity can overwhelm human senses. None of this requires time travel. And yet,
so hang on a second. So are you saying he didn't disappear? People just got the idea he disappeared because of the electromagnetic effects?
It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not even finished.
Where's the body?
Where's my body? Where's my body? And yet, according to the story, there were witnesses. And this is one of the most persistent and challenging aspects of the Mike Markham case. Multiple retellings insist that Mike wasn't alone, that there was at least one other person who saw the experiment begin and saw Mike vanish. However, no witness has ever come forward publicly with a verifiable on-the-record statement. No names, no sworn testimony, and no interviews with major media outlets.
Yeah, I rest my case.
Instead, we have layers of attribution, a friend, an associate, or someone who was there. From an investigative standpoint, that's quite important. Eyewitness testimony is powerful, but only when it can be examined and cross-examined. Anonymous witnesses, filtered through years of retelling, are not evidence their claims. And yet, the absence of named witnesses doesn't automatically mean that the story is false. It may mean that those involved don't want the attention. They don't trust the authorities, or they don't want to be associated with something potentially illegal or embarrassing. Or it could mean that the witnesses were misinterpreting what they saw, which leads us to the internet. The Mike Markham story didn't become widely known in the 90s through newspapers or television. It spread quietly and then explosively through online forums, message boards, and early websites dedicated to unexplained phenomena. By the early 2000s, Markham's name began appearing in discussions about time travel, missing persons, and fringe science. And the story was shared and reshared, often without any new information, just repetition. And this is important because repetition creates legitimacy. When people encounter the same story in multiple places, they assume it's been verified somewhere else, even if it hasn't. So over time, the story becomes known, even if its original sources fade into obscurity. And in Markham's case, many retellings cite each other. One forum post references another. A blog cites a message board. A YouTube video quotes a blog. The result is a circular narrative, one that feels well documented, but is actually built on very few primary sources. But that doesn't mean that Mike didn't disappear. It means we need to be extremely careful about how we interpret why. One of the most telling details in Markham's story is how rarely prison is mentioned in the more sensational retellings. Mike was incarcerated. That's not speculation, that's documented. He served time for stealing electrical equipment. And incarceration disrupts lives in profound ways. People lose jobs, housing, relationships. Some choose to start over afterwards, sometimes under new names and sometimes far from where they began. It's entirely possible that Mike Markham didn't vanish during an experiment at all. It's possible he just left. But if that's the case, why the story? Why would multiple people independently describe a dramatic disappearance involving a machine? One explanation is that something did go wrong, just not in a science fiction sense. An electrical accident could have caused severe injury or disfigurement. Panic could have followed. Evidence could have been destroyed, either intentionally or unintentionally. And people involved may have chosen silence over scrutiny. And in the absence of clear answers, speculation will fill the vacuum. Another explanation is simply myth-making. Mike was known among certain circles as someone who was obsessed with time travel. If he later became unreachable, moved away, changed identity, or died quietly, the story of him succeeding in his experiment might have been more appealing than the truth. So it transforms failure into legend. And legends are sticky. But here's where things get a bit more complicated. Despite years of interest, no conclusive record has ever surfaced showing Mike Markham's death. No obituary that can be definitely linked, no grave, no confirmed later life documentation. At the same time, there's no proof he's alive either. This liminal status, neither confirmed dead nor demonstrably living under his original identity, is part of what keeps the story alive. Mike exists in kind of a narrative superposition. And that ambiguity allows people to project onto him. For believers in time travel, he's just a pioneer who went too far. For skeptics, he's a cautionary tale wrapped in an internet folklore. And for investigators, he's just a missing person with an incomplete record. But for the internet as a whole, he's a mystery that refuses to resolve. So where does this leave us? At this point in the story, we can say a few things with confidence. Mike Markham was definitely real. He was an inventor and an experimenter, and he stole high voltage electrical equipment. He went to prison, and at some point after his release, he ceased to appear in public records under his name. What we can't say is exactly how or why that happened. But in the next part of this narrative...
What? There can't be another part.
We will examine the alternative explanations more closely. We'll look at some alleged sightings and some attempts to track Mike through public databases.
What, are we going to do that now? Just from a production point of view, it's an hour and a half.
Yes, fine. That's value for money. This is fascinating stuff.
I just feel that we're shoveling more heaps of nonsense on top of the existing nonsense.
Look, when someone disappears, there's usually two parallel stories unfolding at the same time. The first is personal, what happened to the individual, and the second is administrative, what traces they leave behind.
Did he have wife and children?
No one knows that.
It's pretty easy to find out whether he was married with children.
The guy steals Transformers and hangs out in his basement. I mean, work it out.
Yeah, you're right.
But paperwork, records, databases, the quiet machinery of modern life that most people never think about until it fails. Mike Markham's case is strange because that second parallel story feels incomplete. If Mike Markham had died in a documented way through an accident, illness, or violent event, there would almost certainly be a trail, a death certificate, a coroner's report, a newspaper notice. Even people with minimal social ties tend to leave some mark. But despite years of searching by internet sleuths, no such record has ever been definitively linked to him. And that absence doesn't prove anything by itself. Records can be lost, names can be misspelled, people can be misidentified, especially in the 90s, when so many systems were still paper-based or poorly digitized. But it does narrow the field a bit, because it suggests that if Mike died, it might not have been in a way that generated clean, easily accessible documentation, or that his death was recorded under circumstances that obscured his identity. Which brings us to the most common, non-extraordinary explanations. People do leave their lives behind. They change names, they move, they start over. That's especially true for people who've been incarcerated and who may want to distance themselves from their past. And if Mike chose to do that, it would explain several things at once. the lack of public record, the absence of confirmed sightings, and the persistence of rumours in the community that he left behind. But it also raises questions. Starting over isn't easy. It means resources, planning, and usually help. And Mike wasn't known to be wealthy or well-connected. He was an obsessive inventor with a criminal record, not the ideal profile for a clean disappearance. There's also the timing. The disappearance is typically placed shortly after his release from prison, when most people are focused on re-establishing stability, not vanishing completely. It's possible, but it's not airtight. Another explanation is accidental death. Electrical accidents can be catastrophic and very fast, and they can also be confusing for bystanders. If something went wrong during an experiment, panic could have followed. People might have hesitated to call authorities, especially if stolen equipment or illegal activity was involved. In that scenario, evidence could have been removed or misinterpreted. A body might not have been found immediately, or remains could have been discovered later without clear identification. This explanation aligns with known risks and known behaviour patterns, but again, there's a bit of a problem. Because even in cases involving criminal activity, deaths tend to surface eventually. Hospital file reports, unidentified remains are catalogued, medical examiners document cases, and so far, no such documentation has been conclusively tied to Mike Markham. Then there's the incarceration itself. Some researchers have suggested that Mike may have returned to prison under a different sentence, or that records have been confused, but this explanation falls apart under scrutiny. Incarceration generates extensive paperwork, court appearances, sentencing records, prison intake documents. Even if names change slightly, dates of birth and other identifiers usually align. And again, no such records have been found, which leaves us with something less concrete, but perhaps more revealing: silence. One of the most striking aspects of the Mike Markham story is how few people from his real life have spoken publicly. There are no family interviews, no childhood friends stepping forward to clarify what happened, and no former employers offering timelines. And that silence can be interpreted in many ways. It could indicate a desire for privacy. Families of missing or controversial figures often avoid attention, especially when internet speculation becomes invasive or bizarre. It could also indicate that there simply isn't much to say, that Mike just drifted away quietly and the people who knew him moved on. But silence creates a vacuum, and into that vacuum will always rush theories. By the mid-2000s, Mike Markham's story had become a staple of online discussions about time travel. He was cited alongside other alleged chrononauts, fictional or otherwise. His name became shorthand for the idea that someone had tried and succeeded to escape their timeline. And in these retellings, the lack of evidence wasn't a flaw, it was proof. If he really travelled through time, the logic went, why would there be records? That kind of reasoning is seductive, but it's deeply flawed. It treats absence as confirmation rather than uncertainty. And yet, it persists because it satisfies a human need for a narrative closure, a clean explanation, no matter how likely or unlikely, feels better than ambiguity. But real investigations don't work that way. Real investigations end, and more often than not, with answered questions. There is also the
unanswered questions.
Sorry, unanswered questions.
For God's sake, it's pretty critical.
I understand that. My eyes are dying here, 2 hours worth of reading going on. There's also the possibility, rarely discussed in sensational versions, that Mike Markham's story has been conflated with others. The internet isn't a careful archivist. Stories merge and details bleed across cases. One inventor's experiment becomes another's disappearance, and over time, a composite figure emerges. So it's possible that some elements attributed to Mike happened to someone else entirely and were later folded into his narrative because the themes matched. And this would explain inconsistencies in dates, locations, and descriptions of the machine. It wouldn't require deception, just the slow distortion that comes with the retelling. So at this stage, none of the conventional explanations fully resolve the mystery. Each one accounts for some aspect of the story.
So what you're saying is
dangling.
The internet invents circumstances which it can't substantiate. They put forward any number of hypotheses that all have enormous great big holes in them. And then the conclusion is it's all a bloody internet invention from the first place. They don't know where the bloody head is and where the tail of the story is.
It's no different from your governing fucking Labour Party or your Democrats or your Republicans.
No, but at least something's grounded in reality. This could be the most logical explanation is it's a complete invention.
No, it's not
of the internet.
Invention. It's not. I told you that everything about this man is provable up to and including his disappearance.
He was born.
And he went to prison for stealing electrical bollocks. And he was witnessed disappearing in his
by an unknown person
in his time machine in his garage.
So for you to, in your research to corroborate the story, did you try and contact his family and friends in Utah?
I have spoken, and this is what he told me.
Try again.
One eternity later.
Sorry. This is what he told me.
I can't believe it. Can you prove that?
I mean, isn't it that is what is amazing about this story is that you do a search on Google, he comes up straight away, and yet there's nothing remarkable about it at all. So how many people go missing in America?
Off the top of my head,
hundreds of thousands.
500,000 a year.
Thank you. So you could, next time, why don't you just randomly pick up some missing person and create a story around it, that he was abducted by aliens who in fact had invented a time machine that they came to give us.
Why would aliens give us a time machine?
Because they want us to have a better understanding of the failings of humanity as it stands today, so that when they invade us, we'll be better company.
Are you still butthurt because 69 didn't find you attractive?
She can be my new... We're going back to the beginning of the story. Can you send me 69 so she can be my new AI girlfriend?
For context, please look at our Facebook page to see that 69 is our alien friend, and Mark isn't asking me for some kind of...
She wasn't an alien.
What?
Was she?
Of course she was an alien. She had green skin, for God's sake, with silver eyes.
Oh, I didn't notice that bit.
What were you looking at? Fucking perv.
Anyway, this Michael Markham, he wasn't related to Meghan Markham, was he?
That's Markle.
Oh, it's a different name. Well, does it matter? He might have been related to her anyway.
Let's go back to the facts at the beginning of the story, right? From a scientific... Well, the facts are that he disappeared as a result of a time travel experiment. That's facts.
No, that's not fact.
Right? From a scientific standpoint, there's no credible evidence that this is possible, neither theoretically, experimentally, or historically. But time, as we understand it, can be influenced at extreme scales, near black holes, relativistic velocity.
Are you describing Utah as a black hole?
Missouri, I think it was.
Oh, was it? Missouri. The first story was Utah.
But those effects are measured in fractions of seconds and require energies beyond anything achievable outside very advanced research facilities. A garage-built machine powered by stolen transformers doesn't even come close. And that matters because investigative responsibility means resisting the urge to let mystery override method. But dismissing time travel as an explanation doesn't mean dismissing Mike Markham's story entirely. In fact, doing so may help us see it more clearly. Mike Markham appears to have been a deeply driven individual. He was intelligent, he was obsessive, and he was convinced that he was onto something important. He lived in a world that offered him very limited validation, limited resources, and limited patience for unconventional thinking. He stole equipment, he went to prison, he returned to his work anyway. And that pattern suggests not delusion, but fixation. And fixation itself can be dangerous. It can lead people to overestimate their understanding, underestimate risk, and push past reasonable limits, especially when working alone with their source, without peer review, without safeguards, and without oversight. If Mike disappeared because of an accident, the tragedy isn't that he failed to bend time, it's that he was isolated enough to try. So what can we say with honesty? We can say...
Yeah, I think that's the end of the show.
We can say that
What can we say with honesty?
We can say that Mike Markham was a real person whose life intersected with risk, obsession, and consequence. We can say that he stopped appearing in public records under his own name. We can say that the story of his disappearance has been shaped more by rumour than documentation. And we can say that time travel is the least likely explanation, not because it's boring, but because it's unsupported. What we can't say is exactly how his story ended, and maybe that's the point. In the end, the mystery of Mike Markham isn't a doorway to another timeline. It's a reflection of how modern myths are born, not through lies or absence of truth, but through gaps in knowledge that gets filled with meaning. And until something concrete changes, until a record surfaces or a sighting is confirmed or a voice speaks from the silence, Mike Markham will remain where he's always been, not lost in time, just unresolved.
So what you're saying is, after an hour and 41 minutes about time travel, the conclusion is the least likely explanation for Michael Markham is time travel.
According to your internet sleuths. But it's very difficult for a man to just vanish off the face of the earth.
I don't think it is, actually. Who was Lord Lucan?
Lord Lucan.
Lord Lucan.
Yeah, but he had resources. He could afford to vanish off the face of the earth.
What do you mean he walked into the sea and left his wife fronts on the beach?
Yes, but he had money. When you've got generational wealth, it isn't just in your pockets, you know.
He might have discovered something, sold the patent, and just moved to Jamaica to have a fun time for the rest of his life.
We're talking about Mike Markham now.
Yeah, not Lord Lucan.
Yeah.
Did they ever find him?
Lord Lucan? No, there's still sightings going on to this day. Even
You must be
though
getting on a bit now.
130.
Maybe he suffered a bit of time travel anxiety.
Anyway.
So, sorry, just to remind me, so the second person we talked about was Mike Markham.
Yes.
Who was the first person?
That was the priest, Father Pellegrino.
Pellegrino, that's right. And the Chronovisor.
Yeah, the coronavirus.
I preferred the Chronovisor, actually.
I mean, it's a story with more substance, but I do like the complete disappearance of Mike Markham, because somewhere he could be sitting laughing at us, watching us through his Chronovisor, listening to this episode and thinking, I could fucking teach you a thing or two.
Yeah, maybe you're going to get a call. Maybe you're going to get a call. Hang on, there's a cat.
Yeah, it's okay. He's just...
No, it's not. Have you seen what he's done to your armchair?
I know, and now you can see how he's done it. All right, mate, what are you doing up there?
I'm surprised cats don't scratch your head.
Why? They know I feed them. They love me. I'm your mate, aren't I? Hey, I'm your matey boy. He's my boy. Yeah. He loves
He's gonna. Yeah, but it's still loving can be scratchy occasionally.
No, they never
Anyway,
scratch.
so that was time travel, was it?
Well, that was today's. We're not finished with time travel by a long shot. We'll be doing more episodes in the future on time travel. There's a surprising amount of time travel out there.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's more Pellegrino than Markham.
Oh. Oh. A bit snotty with your time travel.
What was the famous story made into films?
H.G. Wells, the time.
H.G. Wells. Thank you. Yeah, the Time Machine. Yeah, yeah, that was a good movie,
There was
even though it was
also,
made in the 50s.
There was also Journey to the Center of the Earth. Wasn't that a time machine as well?
No,
Are you sure?
I don't think that had time involved, did it?
I don't know. Can't remember. It's a long time since.
Weren't
I
there
read
little
them.
goblin type creatures
Yeah,
running
but
around?
I think they were on a different. I think they were time. I don't think it was a hole in the. I don't know. Maybe it was. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
God, getting old sucks.
All right, come on. We got to give these poor people a rest. They might have a life.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. If you're still with us,
We obviously don't.
the website is back up and running, so you can check us out at strangestuffpodcast.com.
Excellent.
You can find links to all our socials there. Follow us on our Facebook page. Give us a like and a follow and a subscribe. And also, we are now putting episodes of me and Mark on our Patreon. So for the price of a coffee or the price of a beer, you can get twice the entertainment every week so far. So feel free to join us there and help us bring you more stuff.
It's a bargain.
It is a bargain.
It's a bargain.
It is a bargain. Can you imagine this twice a week? Fuck me.
I think there'd be quite a few more disappearances if people were exposed to us twice a week.
Anyway, in the meantime, have yourselves a strange week. If you invent a time machine, by all means use it. But can you come back and give me next week's lottery numbers, please?
Yeah.
So I can finally dump this person and just go and live on an island somewhere.
Oh, that's not nice.
I'd send you
Your
a card.
mate, your only mate.
I'd send you a postcard. Me and 69 on the beach. Anyway.
All right. Well done, Andy.
Have a good one. We'll see you same time, same place, or even in the other place at patreon.com/Strange Stuff Podcast. Bye for now.
Very good. It's funny how